What up, y'all? This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks, coming to you briefly with a quick hit because I got no notification that Bernie Sanders is talking about forgiving all the student debt. While on one hand, you can see that it's totally commendable. If you don't give it context, you don't understand that this is the same man that has talked about not giving cash payment for reparations, that's talked about the cost of reparations. Understand that student debt is forgiving them $1.5 trillion in debt and primarily will go to white folks because of the amount of them that go to college versus us. Fundamentally, my belief is that even as somebody who has 6 figures in student debt, that you don't forgive that debt until you make your debts whole regarding reparations. Don't give black families reparations to white middle class and white upper class families that took on student debt. It just doesn't work that way. I think for a lot of us, what's happening is because we don't understand the value of black community, we look at individual gains as though that's going to be the answer. What does it help a person who has $100,000 in student debt to have that forgiven if all of their family don't have the programs they need to survive? If our families are not made whole and made American, it's still the same thing. I say to you today, what I believe should happen is that Bernie Sanders should come out in support of reparations first, that Bernie Sanders should commit to a $10 trillion reparations plan to be paid over 10 years, $1 trillion a year, only to ADOS, American descendants of slavery, to make these families whole, and should guarantee an apology for slavery if he does become president. After that, he can do a $1.5 trillion student loan forgiveness plan, which I'll be in full support of, but not before. And I think for a lot of us, contextualizing what the realities of what everyone is saying is hard. From Elizabeth Warren to Bernie Sanders, so much of this is about maintaining white wealth, ensuring that white middle class families keep the wealth inside of their families that they've had for generations. For me, I'm looking at this thing and I'm hearing a lot of radical plans. Reparations is not radical. It is a debt that America took on and has not made whole, and it's affecting all of our families. From Loudoun County, Alabama, to Flint, Michigan, to Skid Row here in Los Angeles, California. You see it across the nation. In Chicago, Illinois. I fundamentally believe that if we don't get honest, we don't get real about what politicians are doing and ignoring us, it'll be a problem. You know, they're going to say, well, Bernie supports H.R. 40. I don't need support for H.R. 40 if you've already told us that you're not going to do cash payments. I don't need support for H.R. 40 if you don't know if you're going to support trillions in reparations to ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. If you're not going to do that before, there's no point in studying it, because we're just studying how the trillions will be disseminated and how we're going to break it up to ADOS. We're not studying whether it should be given. I think for so many people, you can't get lost with carrots. They give you carrots to run the race. They can put it right in front of you, make it seem like this is the best thing ever. For me, in a lot of ways, Bernie Sanders is playing with us. Do I think that overall it's a commendable action to forgive student debt? Yes. After you make us whole and American, I'm totally with that plan, but not prior.